The wine industry in a dire situation this week because of the ban on the sale of alcohol. There are reports it may have to destroy around 1.5 billion rands worth of stock because it's running out of storage space. It's time for the new harvest, the new grapes are coming in, and yet they are not able to move the stock that they have at the moment. Two guests for you on that. Phillip Retief is the manager at the Loveren Vineyards. Thys Louw is the winemaker and owner at the DSTV wine estate. Well, let me start with you, Phillip. I mean, this is an unprecedented situation. I imagine all of your storage facilities must be full at the moment.
Yes, Stephen, we're fortunate that we're not in the worst position, but we do know that there are many others and many other wineries that are at the back end of the wave, as I can put it, and literally so that we've started our harvest this week, and we're going to harvest for the next 10 weeks until the end of March. And there are wineries that won't have space for the grapes that they're going to bring in, and that is the concern and what you are alluding to. So yes, if we are not selling wine until the 15th of February, it will mean that we have been closed now on the local market for 4.5 out of the past of then 11 months. So you can do the numbers yourself, and yeah, where else can you go with that?
I mean, what do you actually do? I mean, someone's going to have to let some of their wine down the drain. I can't imagine it.
That is literally what could happen. That could be a nice media exercise. We speak about green harvesting, which means that you just leave the grapes on the vine. That's another option. Some grapes we are going to deliver for juice concentrate making. Others could go into industrial alcohol making, but those are all unsustainable, non-viable, short-term and long-term prospects. It just clears out the glut that we are sitting with. And historically, Europe would have been an option for surplus wine removal, but their belly is also full. So yeah, it's not only uniquely South African. There's a worldwide good balance of wine. We are just unique in the fact that we are the only wine producing country that has been closed in terms of your local sales.
Thys Louw from DSTV, I mean, you must be suffering the same situation. I mean, there's no easy solution to this, is there?
No, Stephen, there is no easy solution, and we are fortunate enough to be in the same boat as Phillip, that we have at least space to harvest, but the challenge is going to come to sell the 2021 harvest. I mean, you know, we don't know for how long this is going on, and like Phillip said, we lost 4 months of sales, and you know, our only income is at this stage wine. Like Van Loveren also, we have restaurant on the farm, and I mean, you know, the restaurant industry in South Africa is also struggling. I mean, the curfew is 9 o'clock, so they stop serving food at 8, and obviously there's no wine. So I mean, we have absolutely no form of income at this moment.
It's a terrible situation. I mean, there must be, I mean, in your industry and just in your facility, hundreds and tens of thousands of people who rely on this section of our economy for an income, who work in this area.
Yeah, we have about 100 permanent employees on the farm, and then harvest time and in season time, we also get another employees in. But it is tough. I mean, we still pay them the salaries and everything. We haven't done any salaries cuts. You know, we're very fortunate to do that. And but it's tough out there, I must say. You know, like I said, we are in this business for 130 odd years. It is quite tough. I think it was the toughest year last year, and I mean, this year doesn't look much better.
Phillip, is there a conversation with government? Is someone talking to government about this? And government is going to say simply, look, until the second wave of COVID-19 is over, they're unlikely to budge on the alcohol ban, I would think.
Stephen, yes, I'm involved with Vinpro, which is the industry organization that represents the 3,000 wine producers out there. And we've been, since March last year, with our CEO, Rico, and the board, very much involved with government. And we've gone the tactful route, the politically correct route, the mindful route. It's fallen on deaf ears to a large extent. Very little consultation, very little feedback. One-sided, and it is at a point where we need to probably make some more drastic decisions and look at alternative options and not try and be the good cop in the process. We do acknowledge that alcohol does play a role in the emergency sector, but I think the curfew has shown that it plays a much larger part, and there are numbers that show that, and I think we'll share that with the media shortly. Maybe just to your earlier point on the job creation, about 300,000 jobs are created throughout the wine industry value chain. And yes, that is definitely going to have an unfortunate impact from tourism, service delivery, all the way down to ground level and on agriculture / rural side. That is just another point, the uniqueness of the wine industry versus our competitors in the liquor industry, beer and spirits. They can pretty much produce on demand within 2 weeks or 6 week cycles. But the wine that we will be selling or have been selling in December, that was started producing or investing on the grapes 2 years ago. So that's the difference between wine and the other categories. We're a long-term agricultural turnaround product, and it's not making it on demand, and that's where the challenge comes when you sit with the surplus that we do have now.
You suggested that maybe you should stop playing good cop. I mean, are you hinting, Phillip, that maybe you'll join SAB and go to court?
That might be an option. Yeah, I cannot deny that at this moment, but we will have to watch the space. Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't think we do have much alternatives.
Thys, I must ask you, I mean, the government is likely to say we'll just export it. I mean, there was a comment earlier that it's not so easy to do that. Is there a glut of wine on international markets at the moment? Why is that?
I mean, there is obviously in the European markets. I mean, Europe is still the biggest market for South Africa, and it is quite difficult. I mean, Italy's got surplus, France has got surplus, Spain has got surplus, and the logistics to buy from that country is just so much easier than to buy at the foot of Africa. And the other thing is, usually after the harvest, you fly overseas and you go and market your wines. You take samples, you go and sell it. You sit with the buyers, you talk through the deals. But now we can't travel and they can't come here, so it's absolutely it's quite difficult to sell wine over a Zoom meeting or do a tasting on a Zoom meeting, and so it is a bit complicated, and definitely our exports is down, and I can see the figures of South Africa, they are also down dramatically.
I mean, it's fascinating because we're one of the few countries in the world with a ban on alcohol. Those countries did not ban alcohol, but of course their lives have changed. I mean, in many cases, Italy, Spain, their restaurants have been closed as well.
But they were still allowed to buy at the grocer or the supermarket, or like off trade, and go and drink it at home. Rather make the curfew earlier, but let the guy drink the wine, buy the wine from the supermarket and drink it at his home. I mean, I think that it's the best solution at this stage.
Phillip, I mean, there is a little bit of experience about what happens when a lockdown ends, because we've had that twice. We've had 2 bans on the sale of alcohol. What happened to your sales? And in a way, if I may suggest, wine is perhaps more of a middle-class drink in some ways. I mean, depending on the wine, depending on what it is, it's not the cheapest way to consume alcohol. I mean, I presume that the moment that people could buy alcohol, maybe people stocked up.
Yeah, we speak about the pantry loading. What happened after April and May last year, that there was a big spike the first 10 days of June, which was, you probably gained another week. But it's not as if it just increases dramatically and continuously. And then after the July-August lockdown, when it opened middle of August, it was pretty much just par for the course, nothing extraordinary. So yes, a lost sale, that it's gone. You don't really recover it. It's unfortunate that there was a small spike in June, but that was it. There was one small benefit, and that is that online sales, which we can process but we can't deliver. That showed a nice blip, and filled a few gaps, and I think COVID in the wine industry brought online sales forward with about at least 10 years. There's definitely new traction on that, so that's one of the future positive outcomes from this.
Phillip, I mean, I must ask if there's going to be other fundamental changes to the wine industry as a result of this. In a lot of industries, when you have a contraction, when sales go down, you also have a consolidation, and the bigger players get bigger, and the smaller players, well, they go to the wall. They go bust. Are we going to see the same thing happening here?
Yeah, I think it's quite a unique balance. Each of us have got different models. You might be bigger in exports, bigger locally. You might have a stronger footprint on your tourism facility or your cellar door. You might be strong in retail. So every business is different. And those that have brands, I believe, will be stronger for it than the wineries that don't have brands, and as we say, sell bulk wine to the brand owners. And that pushback happens throughout the cooperatives back to the farmers. And it's like a slow poison. The farmers will feel it, are starting to feel it now, because the payouts are getting less and getting later. And it's almost as if when you look back in 12 months' time, you'll say, well, I don't really know what happened, but there's 40% of my income gone. Whereas we that are in the market, we feel it immediately, and you can adapt, be agile, be nimble, and try to work within that. So I wouldn't differentiate between large and small. I think it's more in terms of what your business case was before COVID and what it was not, and that will be the differentiation.
I mean, Thys, I imagine, you and other people must be really worried about your future in the industry now.
Obviously, we are worried, but I'm just saying every day to myself, if we can get through this, then we will be stronger on the other side. So I think that's a thing that keeps us still alive. And I must say, at least the harvest that we are probably going to start in 2 weeks' time is looking good. The quality is fantastic, and the yield is looking fantastic. So luckily on the new harvest, there's not less grapes, and there wasn't heat waves or a lot of rot like you sometimes get. So at least that's something we can look forward to. And we always made a plan. Our family have survived the Great Depression. They have survived the 1990 fever. So maybe we survived this one.
Well, Thys Louw, Phillip Retief, thank you very much indeed. Really do appreciate the time. Thys Louw is the owner and winemaker at Thys Louw. Phillip Retief is the manager at the Loveren Vineyards. A very difficult time for your industry. Gentlemen, thank you. All right, back.